We are live on the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcast, the number one internet talk network. Number one. And this is the Health, Love, and Life show with me, Arnie Fonseca Jr. And just wanted to, again, remind everybody that you can call me right there on the screen. You can email me, ask me questions. You can also make sure you follow me on all the different social media. I'm on LinkedIn at Arnie Fonseca Jr., Twitter at Real Coach Arnie, TikTok, Real Coach Arnie, Facebook, Arnie Fonseca Jr. And if you want to know some other, actually, I got my new website. It's up, but we're not done yet. But you can go in there and take a look, ArnieFonseca.com. And that's what we're talking about tonight. Faith will be your anchor when times are tough. Well, times are tough. Now, it's interesting as we get into this topic and why it kind of washed over me this last Mother's Day weekend. And by the way, I don't think I wished Cece a happy Mother's Day, but a belated happy Mother's Day to you. It was kind of a different kind of Mother's Day. You know, a lot of times you might go out for breakfast or brunch or go to the movies or something like that. So this year, I mean, I don't know if they would trust me to make everybody breakfast, but my daughter came over and my wife and her mom, and so everybody kind of cooked some things up. So yeah, but it was just different feel. You can still feel a little bit of people on edge, even though in Arizona, we're going back to work, technically. And so it just kind of washed over me about faith. And I mean, I'm a Christian, so I'm a person of faith. And I think the one thing about this whole virus, epidemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, situation that kind of probably struck me the worst was I have been in and out of some churches over the last many years. Found some great ones, and then things just happen, just like a relationship. Sometimes you don't see eye to eye, and it's never about my relationship with God. That's actually, it's never been stronger. And actually, if I look over here on my goals for 2020, that's always number one, my relationship with God, because I'm constantly working on that. And probably over the last 5 years, it's never been stronger. But my relationships with churches have been weaker. I do go to different churches. I haven't probably been in a church family for probably the last 4 or 5 years, maybe not that long. But I've been really steady at my men's Bible groups or Bible studies in general, week in, week out, no matter what, summer, winter, doesn't matter. I get up super early in the morning, and I look forward to that deep dive into the Word, because I need that. I need that as a human being, because it's important to me. It's my anchor, and that's kind of why I came up with that the saying tonight, that faith will be your anchor in tough times, because I know this, when times are tough like this, the last time I ran into this was when my business BK'd in 2012. And then before that, it was the economy crashing in 7, 8, and 9. And then before that, it was 9/11. Even though 9/11 was more of a community thing, it really didn't affect my business per se. It just affected my spirit, I guess. Because it's never any fun to feel vulnerable. And then I'm just trying to search back in my brain when times were tough for me. Before that, it was probably the year I got out of teaching, which was probably another 8, 9 years earlier than that. So, but every time that I run into something like that, I always review in my brain the fact that those times in my life where I felt the weakest or the most vulnerable is when my faith became stronger. Because I know that when times are really tough, that if all I had was me, I'd be a mess. I mean, I'm leaving some stuff out here. I'm being very careful. That's why I kind of paused there for a few seconds, because I like being vulnerable, but I don't want to be too vulnerable here. Some things that happened in there that really challenged my faith, and when that happens, if all you have is yourself, you're in for one hell of a ride. And I share that with clients and workshops as well, because obviously not everybody is a person of faith. You know, you don't have to be a Christian, but there's other spiritual anchors that you could have in your life. And if you don't have that, then when stuff really happens, all you have is yourself. Some people rely on other people. I remember 11 years ago when my best friend died. I mean, really a man of faith himself. Actually, he's the one that got me to accept Christ in my life. And when he passed away, that was a tough time. But being around him, I always felt better, even when he was on his deathbed. Oop, what the heck? Oh, my computer went dead. What happened there? That was weird. So kind of caught me off guard here. My screen went dead on me. So yeah, but that kind of caught me off guard. When he, get my train of thought here, on his deathbed, and he was so positive. I always felt better being around him. Okay, I felt better. And I think because he's the one that really showed me the power of faith, that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what's going on around you if you have that anchor, that touchstone that you can grab onto when this body here, when this brain, when everything is kind of falling apart. And if you can hold on, just hold on to that anchor so the storm can blow past you, you've got a chance. You know, one of the things I like to talk about is being an eagle. Being an eagle during tough times. You know, one of the things that has, and I'll get back to why I'm my big, not my challenge of faith, but my big disappointment, as I'm making a note here, on this whole Corona thing. But being an eagle during tough times allows you to do what eagles do, which is not to go through the storm, because they don't have an anchor. So they have two choices. They can endure the torment of the storm, which might kill them. You ever seen a bird in the storm? You know, you've seen like crows or pigeons or other birds. They're just trying to withstand the storm. They're taking it. Oh, I thought it was something with my computer. They're just taking it. But an eagle, what an eagle does is an eagle flies over the storm because it can go so high because it has an amazing lung capacity. And the eagle can go over the storm and literally survive by not even messing with it. And we all have that opportunity in our life. We can all do that. Some don't want to. Some want to take the beating. Some want to say, "Look at me! Look what I did." You know, I got smacked around. instead of going over it. Look at me. I tell people all the time, why are you in a debate or an argument on social media? It doesn't do you any good. I just had a gentleman that I've become very good friends on during some of my live shows I do on Facebook, and he lives in Florida. That's kind of crazy. And he, over the last few weeks, he's come to the realization that he's not going to change anybody. And he was just wearing himself out. And that's what you do when you try to go through the storm on your own. You're just going to wear yourself out. Versus if you have faith in something bigger than you, your faith has to be bigger than you, which means it can't be another person. And I think that's where we all make big mistakes. We put faith in people. And that I've got in my notes here, we're going to talk about that. But when we put faith in people, they're going to let you down. And then you're like, ugh, can't believe I did that. We've all done it. It's a horrible feeling. You're let down more than you are when some knucklehead does something dumb to you, because I expected the knucklehead to do that, but yeah, I didn't expect that person to do it to me. And that's where faith comes in. That's where your anchor comes in, and it can't be other people. So back to why I was my biggest disappointment in this whole virus thing. It wasn't in the knucklehead politicians or the other people. I expect those people to act the way they do. I do. They don't shock me, period. But what was shocked me the most was the church. Even my church that attended my Bible study to every week, and I look forward to it, even though it was every Friday morning, very early. I loved it. And the first couple of weeks, we were together. We were locked arms. And then you could start to sense the fear. And then when the mandate came down, or the suggestion came down that you couldn't meet, well, you could in small groups, but we didn't get innovative. We gave in, just like that. Bam, folded like a cheap tent. I'm thinking, whoa, what happened? Because if somebody would have said to me, hey, whoever wants to show up on Friday, I'll be here. And I thought that's where it was going to go. They didn't even give you that opportunity, because I would have been there in a heartbeat, because it was important to me, because my faith was more important. See, my faith in something bigger than me was so much more important. And I was feeding my faith by going there every Friday morning. It was just part of me. It became a big part of me. So what happened is I put faith in other people, and I got let down. And it bothered me. I've got to be honest with you about it. It bothered me a lot. And I've had many discussions with at least one of the guys in the group, and I've let him know that. And then I found out that in our state, we could have had church services at the end of April, and not a word, not a peep from the leadership in the group. That bothered me. It's like, man, what's going on here? And I don't want to just go down the route that it was about money, because maybe it was. They don't want to get a bad reputation. I don't know. I'm not sure. But see, I like to communicate. I like to say, hey, what's going on? What are you guys feeling? What would you like to do? Give me some ideas. How can we make this work? Communicate. It's hard, but it's important. Communication is very, very important. So my faith in that system has been shaken. But it really comes down to, when I talk about faith, because I believe that in tough times, faith exposes who people really are. Okay? Because see, in times of stress, when you put faith in things other than God and yourself, you are exposing yourself to being hurt. Because in those times of stress, people will show themselves to who they truly are. And back to my disappointment, when the fire got turned up, people that I thought had super strength, super faith, fell apart. And I didn't feel good about that. I didn't feel good about it. So I'll struggle with that. Now, my own Bible study has continued. It's stronger than ever. My own faith is super strong. It has nothing to do with my trust in God and Jesus and talking about my faith, which I do all the time. But it just reminds me that faith, which I define as complete trust, complete trust, unconditional, complete. That's it. And if you're willing to give that away, see my hand? I'm putting my heart in my hand. And when you're willing to do that, then you also have to be willing to get it knocked out of your hand. That's why in relationships, I was working with a couple today, and I said, you have to be willing to share with somebody how they need to treat you. You need to treat them. Then you need to make a realization, is this what I really want to do? Because in order to make it work, you have to both love each other unconditionally, or it won't work. In order for faith to work, it has to be unconditional. It can't be, well, I'm going to have a good, strong belief when everything's good. Oop, my thing went dead again. Holy crap. I hope that's not messing up. That's weird. They were working on the power out here. I don't know. Hopefully it's not something that's going to be too weird. So, get my brain back here again. So again, faith is that complete trust. And that's hard, because I've seen many, many so-called Christians fold during these tough times. I also saw them fold during those other times I talked about. Bankruptcies, divorces, financial collapses, other pandemics we've had. The guy sent me a whole list today of all of them. Job changes, job losses. Like I said a minute ago, you're exposed. And so I think it's more disheartening to see somebody who professes to have a strong faith to fold under tough times. So tough times will define who you can count on. And then it's up to you. Now, people can change, but for the most part, they have to want to change. So it's up to you to decide who you're going to trust. And I like to look at my chest, my upper body here, like a washing machine. And when you have something you trust and you put it inside yourself, you expect it to be there no matter what. That washing machine is going to turn around, jumble around, and then it's going to spit it out. Meaning that if you put another person in there and you jumble them up, mess with them, are they going to come out and be the same person? Are they going to have that same trust? Are they going to have the same response? Probably not. So you got to be careful putting people inside of you. And I mean anybody. I mean, even means your parents, your kids, anybody. In reality, I only believe you can put yourself and God inside right here. Because one, you're going to have to learn at some point to trust yourself. Because you got to live with yourself. You got to look in the mirror every day. And God is God. God you can always trust, but you got to believe that. That's it. If you're putting other things in there, you're running a risk of being gravely disappointed. Gravely disappointed. So let's hold that thought for 1 second here as we take a quick little break. We'll be right back. This is WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio, TV, and podcast. #1 Internet Talk Network. All right, so back to that point to finish that up. To me, faith is unconditional. It's just not when things are going well. Hee. Aaron, how you doing, my brother? Looking good. I love that tux, man. But faith is something that you hold on to in tough times and in good times. It's not just something you go, hey, man, how's your faith doing? I'm doing great. Because you just got a raise and you just got a new girlfriend or you just had a child. Everything is going good. Woo, your world is great. You got amazing faith. And then the next time they see you just lost your job, your wife or girlfriend kicked you out of the house, and I don't know, you got swindled out of a couple $1,000. Your dauber's down, and you don't even want to talk about God. How could God let this happen to me? What's wrong with that? I've heard it. So even when we were just going, what we're going through right now, I'm seeing people that are, fear is, I think the most common word in the last 2 months has been fear. I wonder why that is. Why? Why is fear the most common word? Is it because the media is not saying it? The media is trying to act like they're not even talking about fear, even though that's all they do is talk about fear. So the reason is because fear is an emotion that literally people are wearing on their faces with a face mask. It tells them that they're afraid. I even shared with, and I don't share a lot about this, and just to kind of use it as an example, I shared a video this weekend of Dr. Fauci saying that face masks aren't necessary. They don't work. He said it. It was him in a video this weekend. And I shared it with a couple of people. And I talked about it with some other people. And they go, oh, no, I got to do this. And I thought, okay, if you want, it's up to you. But I tried to share. But to me, that's faith. See, if you believe that in your world and whoever your God is, that your God is going to be there for you, then it's not going to be a mask. Because to me, when you put faith in something like that, it's what you call idolatry. Even your children. And I've talked about this when I do workshops on this. In that, when you put your children or your spouse or anybody up on a pedestal, you literally create an idol out of them. And that's not good. But what you can do is put your faith in God. And that faith will carry you through. That's your anchor. And your God can be different, whoever it might be for you, whatever your spiritual belief is, but it's bigger than you. Remember that. It's bigger than you. That's the key. And you are equal to any human being on this planet. I don't care who they are. You are as good or better than any human being on this planet. Period. And if you don't believe that, that's on you. It's not on anybody else. It's on you. But if you believe that, then you should never put anything inside of you, okay, besides God and yourself. Because you don't need it. You've got all. Have you ever heard? I used to love this saying by Tony Robbins. Everything I need is inside of me. Does that not say it all right there? Everything I need is inside of me. Do you believe that? You need to, because it's true. It's true. You can't put things in here that you don't have. So if you're looking for love and you don't have it, you won't be able to put it inside of you. You need to create what you want to attract. So if you love yourself, love will come to you. Okay? So if you're emitting fear, if you're sending out fear, then you will attract fear back in. And that's been my biggest fear with people sitting around watching TV. Because they're bringing in all that negativity, which will then attract negativity. Yeah, because they'll internalize it, be thinking about it, send out that negative energy, which will pull in the negative energy. And it's really too bad. It makes me sad to see that. It really does. It makes me sad to see that. Okay? Because I know that if they were to overwhelm, and it's funny because somebody just, right before I did the show, somebody sent a text, a big player out there, a big player, and sent a text to me about when you're, actually, let me read it to you. I was going to start this tonight. I'm going to read this to you guys. It's important. I'll read this to you. Oop, it went dark again. That is weird. Come on. That's 3 times. It's the first time I've ever done that. Okay. So, don't listen to people filled with fear when you're on the verge of courage. Promise. Thanks, Aaron. Keep the faith in Jesus and we can make it God on our side, brother and Lord. You bet. It's exactly right. Amen. But think about it. When you guys are right on the verge, and this is important, I call it Satan's pig pile. When you're on the verge of that breakthrough, when you're on the verge of doing that courageous act, taking that risk, flying above the storm, being an eagle, when you're on that verge of being that guy or that lady, that's when you're going to get attacked. I call it Satan's pig pile. You're going to get attacked with all kinds of negativity in your life. You're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to go, what the heck did I just get hit with? Boom, boom, boom. And you'll always get attacked by your idols. Could be your kids. It could be your spouse. It could be your work. It could be your physicality. Whatever you put above God, that's what Satan's going to use to attack you with. Every time. And you've got to overwhelm that with faith, with gratitude, with love. And if you do that, then you got a chance to smother it, put the fire out. You know what I'm saying? You got a chance to put that fear fire out by smothering it with dirt and water and chemicals and whatever else you need to throw on top of it, blankets, and just smother it. Because if you don't, it'll smother you. Yeah, it will. So it's kind of interesting how he sent me that right before I came on to do this thing. It was literally, not less than a half an hour. Because it's true. It's true. And maybe God was sending that little message to me, huh? It's because he knew I was going to share it with you guys tonight. And it's really important that, especially for those of us that may have had a weakened faith for whatever reason, and usually our faith is weakened because of something that happened with the church, or I have a client in Tennessee, and I'm trying to get him to come on and watch the show, but it's late. And he shared with me, because he's in a wheelchair, and he shared with me why his faith was a little shaken, because we talk about it, in that it bothered him when he would be going down the street, whether he'd be walking with his walker or a wheelchair, and people of faith would come up to him and tell him they were going to heal him. Now, I mean, obviously, has that happened? Sure, it's biblical. Has it happened in your lifetime? Maybe. I don't know. I know people in my lifetime have been healed. But it became annoying to him because everybody was trying to do it to him, and he was still in a wheelchair. Now, was it because he lacked faith? Maybe. Or were they being unfair? Maybe. So him and I have had long talks about why that's not the important thing. We can't control what other people do. People are going to do people things. They're going to try to do what they do. And you have a choice. You can spend time with them, or you don't have to spend time with them. So you can love them and then move on. Hey, don't have time, love you, see you later. But if you sit there and talk and engage them and allow them to do things, I mean, I remember as a young man, gosh, I was 21 years old. If that. Yeah, I was 21. And I was did a long trip to go meet somebody. And I got stuck in this town in New Mexico in the middle of winter in a big snowstorm. And I literally stayed there, I don't know how many days. It seemed like forever while they were working on my car. And I stayed with some people that took me in. And they went to church every day. So I'll go to church. Back then I was a Catholic. I wasn't practicing, but I believe in God. So the day I left, they literally surrounded me and were praying over me and chanting and talking tongues and everything you can imagine. And here I was, a young guy going, oh boy, these guys are crazy. What is all this stuff going on here? I didn't get it, because I certainly didn't grow up with that kind of stuff. But I just took it in and smiled and loved him and got in my car and drove away. And I'm still telling that story almost 40 years later. What's the point? The point is, you have to decide. You have to decide where you're going to put your faith. If you put it in God and yourself, then you don't have, that becomes just kind of a thing. But if you put it in the church and in people, see, the church is people. And if you put it in that, like I did my Bible study, then I'll be disappointed, right? So if you put it in the church, then you'll be disappointed. Or not. Maybe your church stood up. I mean, I know here in Arizona, they're having a huge celebration this Saturday night at the state capitol. A bunch of strong Christians are getting together with pastors and all kinds to basically challenge, well, we can open. So I'm not sure what they're doing. I think they're just trying to tell other pastors, come on, get courage. Get courage. Go. It takes courage. It takes courage to be different, guys. It takes faith. It takes faith. I'm always talking about challenging the status quo. If you go on any of my social media, LinkedIn or whatever, it's all about the challenging the status quo, taking risk, being different, being the oddball. It's hard because we all want to fit in. We all want to be part of something. And By challenging the status quo, what you'll do is you'll literally create an environment that you'll attract what you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to surround yourself with positive, faith-filled, loving people, then that's what you'll attract. But if you hang out with all the turkeys, you'll attract turkeys. Even if it's at church. I got news for you. There's a lot of turkeys at church. Lots. Okay? So to me, faith is an action word. We all talk about faith. I believe, I have this, I have that. To me, it's an action word. What are you doing? How are you professing your faith? Are you talking about it or are you doing it? You know, during this whole epidemic situation, I helped my coach of 46 years. Even though he wasn't there, his grandson took over, and we gutted a gym that we work out in, a big gym, which we kept open. I was just talking to him again this afternoon on one of my calls, and because we hung in there and we convinced his dad to believe in us, we were able to gut this thing, redo it. We put artificial turf in. We created a whole new gym, a nonprofit that's able to raise lots of money to help lots of people. All because we were willing to challenge the status quo, and we believed in what we were doing, and God blessed us because we didn't have one incident the whole time. And some people might say, well, that's risky. You took a big risk. You're darn right we took a big risk. We swung for the fences, and we hit it out. Now, is it always going to work that way? Hell no. I got news for you. I got more misses than I got home runs. But I don't remember the misses. I remember the home runs. So this was another home run. Because we took the chance. And I remember the day when Arizona was closing down. I went up to his dad. His dad was freaking out. And I said, come on, you can do this. We'll take care of it for you. Just believe in us. And man, he looked at me and shook his head. There goes my screen again. Cece, help me. And that's weird. And then it worked, guys. It worked. But I don't know what's going to work in your life, because I don't know what, for you, a big risk might be to get up in the morning and put your shoes on and go for a walk around the block. I don't know. Maybe. You know, for me, the last 6 weeks, almost 8 weeks now, it was to do something technically not against the law, but against the ordinance, or whatever you want to call it, recommendation. And we did it. We did it big time. And we made a difference now. We made a difference. And we wouldn't have made a difference if we would have waited, because we would have lost opportunity. You know, we don't know in our lives when opportunity is going to show up. I've been there where I've missed it, and I've been there when I caught the ride, caught the wave. But sometimes opportunity comes sailing by, and you got to make a choice. I might have to jump off this dock here and swim out to it. Because if you're waiting for it to come in and dock and say, hey, come on over, Arnie. I got this great opportunity for you. You can't miss it. Life doesn't always work that way, does it? And when we are put in those situations, we have to make hard choices, which I've talked about before on this show. And hard choices are the things that we remember most in life, because they're hard. Anybody can make an easy choice. That's nothing. It's a piece of cake. Hard choice, that's what separates the wheat from the chaff. That's what, as I shared earlier, that's what exposes your faith. That's right. So faith is an action word. So let's finish up a little bit more with that discussion about what we put inside of ourselves. See, putting faith only in what you can. Let's see, if I use the word control, let's define that a little bit. Because obviously you can't control God, right? Nope. So that's a given. So, because faith can be in anything. Faith can be in your neighbor. Faith can be in your dog. Faith can be in your government. That's your choice. Where are you going to put your faith? But remember what we talked about earlier, putting them in things that you can't control, except for one, God, or who you look to spiritually. Now, if you look to somebody that's a human being as spiritual, okay, that's on you. I don't know how that's going to work out for you, but to me, you're all the same. All human beings are the same. Yeah, believe it or not. We're all got flesh and skin and blood and all the good stuff inside of us. God doesn't. And God is inside of us. And God is something that we can hold on to tight, because he's going to hold on tighter to you if you express your faith, which is that complete trust. If you believe in all your heart that God's going to hold on to you when times are tough, then he will. If you question it, then maybe he won't. Maybe he will. But you're going to feel confused. And that's why, whether you have faith in your relationships, your job, your health, any of those things, if you truly believe it, that whatever you're doing is the right thing, then you'll keep doing it. If you truly believe that God is going to help you, if God is going to get you through the storm you're currently in, then he will. Now, I'm gonna share something with you. He may not get you through the storm the way you expect to be got through the storm. That's the tricky thing about faith. It works out a lot of times, but sometimes the answer is not the way you wanted to hear it. Sometimes you had to go through some different doors or windows to get there. See? And that's the part that starts to blow people apart a little bit, because it's not a straight line. Faith is not a straight line. But if you have this unconditional love for God, and you put all your faith in God, I mean, all of it, can't hold back. I mean, I'm not sure how much you guys have studied the Bible, but Abraham put his son Isaac on the altar. I mean, he literally put him on the altar. He was going to sacrifice him because that's what God wanted him to do. He did it. He got the wood there. He was ready to go. And he was going to do it. How many of you are willing to do that with somebody you love as much as Abraham loved his son? How many? I'd have to ask myself that too. And I have many times. But how many of you are willing to do that? That's faith. That's faith. When you believe in something that strongly. And so sometimes our faith is, if it's in the wrong place, you get some crazy things happening. If it's in the right place, you get some amazing things happening. So I want you to work on that this week. As you go back to work and your faith is challenged, put your faith in God and yourself, and just believe that God's going to make it okay with you. God's not going to put you in a position that you're going to be harmed. Just believe. Okay, guys? Just give it all you got. Believe all you got. And I know that things are going to work out for you. I really, really believe you. All right, guys, this is Arnie Fonseca, Jr. There's my phone number, 602-390-9144. Call or email me anytime you got it. There's my new website. CC got up there, arniefonseca.com. Give it a look-see. I don't have any of my videos up there yet, which is driving me crazy. Thought I'd have it all done by this week. But either way, the The structure is up for you to take a look at. Send me some feedback. Would love to hear it. In the meantime, I love you guys. And if you're getting back to work this week, I'm praying for you. I'm with you. You can do it. You've got this. And all is going to be well. I promise you. I promise you. All is going to be well. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.